Thanks very much, Kira. Hello, everybody. I'm Andrew Campbell-Edie. I'm the Communications Manager at the Irish Centre for Diversity. Just to self-describe, I'm a Black man. My pronouns are he, him. I have close cropped hair on my head, otherwise known as bald, and a black moustache. I'm wearing spectacles, and I'm in front of a white virtual background with the logo for the Irish Centre for Diversity and our coloured triangle branding. We recently held the National Diversity and Inclusion Awards to recognise and celebrate the valuable work being done to progress diversity and inclusion in Ireland. This webinar series has been devised to share the insights and experiences from the sponsor, the winner, and the other finalists, so that any learnings can be applied to your organisation or to help with entering the next award cycle. Today's session focuses on the category Advancing Race / Ethnic Equality. This category recognises the organisations that are really leading the charge when it comes to DEI and can demonstrate that they have done this, that they have this vital area at the heart of their business. This is now needed more than ever. Quick word about our sponsor, Medtronic. Medtronic is a global healthcare technology leader, boldly attacking the most challenging health problems facing humanity with innovations that transform lives. They're the first-time sponsor of the National Diversity and Inclusion Awards and were highly commended in the 2024 cycle in this exact same category. I'll shortly hand over to the award sponsor, and then we'll hear from some more of the finalists and end with the award winner, wrapping up in about an hour. We're joined by Catherine White, our ISL interpreter. Session's being recorded and will be available on the Irish Centre for Diversity website. Everyone's muted except the panel, but please do share comments in the chat function. We'd love to hear which organisations you're joining us from. There isn't time for Q&As. We've got a lot to get through, but you might get answers by linking in with any of the panelists directly on LinkedIn. So I'm very pleased to introduce our host for today, Toyin Etti, who is a senior PD project manager. I'm going to start again. Who is the senior PD project management specialist at Medtronic, and she's also co-chair for the African Descent Network UK and Ireland. And she will shine a light on their organization's diversity inclusion advances and lead what is sure to be a great conversation. Before we start, it's important to mention that Medtronic, just like the other sponsors and the Irish Centre for Diversity, had no part in the judging process, and we couldn't enter ourselves. Over to you, Toyin.
Thank you very much, Andrew. As Andrew said, I am Toyin Etti. I'm a Black woman. I've got spectacles on. My hair is braided, long. And I have a stripy shirt on. And I have the background blue and white with the logo Medtronic in it. And so Medtronic has been leading in the area of race diversity and ethnicity. And the reason they're doing that is in the last 15 to 18 years plus, within the manufacturing campus, we've seen greater number of diverse ethnicity. Currently, there are over 68 different ethnicity within the campus. And so many things have just happened to cater to the need of those diversity. So one of it is just having the African Descent Network. We have the traveler community. Then we have the multicultural, that encompasses other European countries, non-Irish, plus Hispanic and people from South America as well. So we've been championing that. And one of the things the African Descent Network, ERG, within Medtronic has done is to bring to the forefront what the leaders have not been empowered to be able to accomplish. And so we created a mentorship program where it's a reverse mentoring. The senior leaders from director level and above will be the mentors, and they will mentor any African with a degree, no matter their role within the organization. And they would, give them career guidance. And in return, they will share their experience within Medtronic, how they, as an African, are experiencing Medtronic. And so policies and decisions made within the organization, they will know how it can benefit across culture. And so this is why Medtronic is sponsoring, this category, just to see, not just within Medtronic, because this impacts within society as well. And it is the people within the society that has been hired into organizations. And to see, the dream is to see more organization, take the lead in promoting ethnic diversity. That's why we have come in to sponsor it. And so we will move on to one of the finalists, and I will call on on Sky, Chidu and Fee, and we'll hear from them. So for Sky, this is what the judges have to say with the work they've been doing. The judges enjoyed hearing about Multicultural Network, especially the network and series. These are events designed to celebrate the multicultural composition of the organization, observing moments of cultural significance, and facilitating cross-departmental networking. These connections often result in professional development opportunities, significantly enhancing employee engagement and career growth. So over to you, Chidu. Can you tell us more about the significance of the multicultural support and network within Sky?
Thank you, Toyin, and good morning, everyone. My name is Chedu Pepper, and I go by the pronouns she and her. My role at Sky Ireland is Diversity, Inclusion and Wellbeing Manager. And I'm joined today by my colleague, Fee, who's actually in the office. I'll give her in a moment an opportunity to introduce herself. We'll be tag teaming just to talk about the initiatives that we've rolled out at Sky. Just to self-describe, I am a Black female with a small afro, working on it becoming big. It's in a pony, and I have a blurred background as I'm working from home. Fee, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Fee Cashman. I am the co-chair of the Multicultural Network at Sky. My pronouns are she, her, and I am a white female with blonde, medium-length hair. And as Chetty said, I'm in the office today with our background of Muhammad Ali, which is quite nice. So yeah, I guess I'll pass back over to Chedu just to give a bit of background on what we do here.
Amazing. So just before we do start, I did want to take a moment to thank the Irish Centre for Diversity and Inclusion, Medtronic, and the judging panel for the recognition of Sky's contribution to D&I. And I really appreciate these great opportunities to come together and share best practice and learn from one another. So just to give you your flowers, as we say, in organizing this. What we thought might be helpful is just to give you a bit of context into, I suppose, the work that we do in advancing race and ethnicity. So we'll kind of go back to 2020, where Sky publicly reacted to the Black Lives Matter movement. We had been practicing inclusion at Sky long before this, but we understood that there was a call to action, and obviously to be vocal about our commitment. So back in 2020, Sky made a bold commitment of £30 million towards a 4-pillar strategy, which focused on representation, progression, culture, and how we use our voice in the communities that we serve. Governance was established to hold Sky accountable. So whilst we have an internal strategy, we actually did take on an external board independent of Sky called our Diversity Advisory Council. And this is made up of, I suppose, subject matter experts in the various areas that we wanted to focus on, to give us an objective view of the progress that Sky was making, and obviously make sure that we're being held to account. Internally, we understood the importance of elevating our employee networks to enhance our employee voice, to feed into the strategy, our D&I strategy. So in 2021, to give you a bit of a view, our gender balance then was 32% females. We made a bold statement that we wanted to reach 50-50 at different levels by 2025. And I suppose from an ethnicity perspective, we kind of reviewed our data, and we had 6.7 representation of Black, Asian, and ethnic minority groups. And when we looked at our Black population, it was 3.7. When we kind of compared that to 2016 census data, what we found was that we were kind of in and around or advancing Ireland, because at the time it was 5.1% for Black, Asian, and ethnic minority groups, and 1.4% for Black. But when we compared that to Dublin, which is where our head office is based, we found that we were actually falling short from a Black, Asian, minority, ethnic group perspective, as we were at 6.7 at that time. 2016 census, it was 8.9%, but we actually were quite strong from a Black representation. This led us obviously to make a bold commitment, and we set ourselves a target or goal of having a representation of 10% Black and Asian ethnic minority groups, and of that 4% from a Black population. And as I've said before, that the 50-50 gender commitment as well. We understood that a combination of inclusive actions would be needed to help us drive this forward, and the active role of our employee networks and how they play a role in driving our culture pillar, and in essence, driving that representation of ethnic minority groups, and that agenda forward as well. So in 2022, the Sky Ireland Inclusion Working Group was formed. The working group was obviously chaired by myself from a diversity and inclusion perspective, representation. But in terms of the key strategic stakeholders, that included our internal comms partners, our people functions, HR, policymakers, and then our 5 network co-chairs. So we've got 5 Body and Mind Multicultural represented by Fee today, and then we've got Women at Sky and Parents and Carers as well. And then the role of the group was to help drive progress on our D&I commitments. And I suppose we specifically would task our networks to help us achieve something, which is how we came together with the Multicultural Network to ensure that we could drive that, I suppose, that ethnic minority group agenda forward. We enhanced the appeal of our networks and formed the Employee Network Strategic Direction, which focused on the benefits of being part of the networks, and as well as the biggest part, which is around the development opportunities. So in this case, employee networks were put forward as an excellent way for managers to increase productivity, improve performance, and employee engagement. Networks were put forward as a place to share ideas, develop skills, and cooperate in or on initiatives that benefit Sky. We know that growth equals progression, and being part of a network enables collaboration with others in purpose-driven roles and the development of skills beyond an employee's remit. So in this instance, I'd like to welcome Fee as our co-chair for Multiculture. Her network has been quite pivotal to some of the progress that we've made from a race and ethnicity inclusion perspective. And she's going to talk about some of the initiatives that have helped push this forward. Over to yourself, Fee.
Thanks, Cheds. Yeah, so I suppose the Multiculture Network, what we like to do is kind of set the tone in terms of culture, and culture, is how we do things around here, right? So we run lots of events throughout the year, fun things, and then we've also got things that are deeply kind of thought-provoking, calls to action, like our blood drives in connection with a talk we did on sickle cell anemia, which is a condition that's really close to my heart. We facilitated anti-racism training to kind of, break kind of any systems of kind of racism that are in the company. And also what we like to do is, they joke and call us the food network, because we like to do lots of events around food. I believe it's the way to people's hearts, and the Network and series was a way for us to do that. It's given us a chance to celebrate big moments in the cultural calendar. St. Patrick's Day, like, is coming up, and we did a networking Kaylee session, which, if you haven't seen 40 awkward employees trying to do a Kaylee together, it's some crack. Eating tato sandwiches and listening to some Irish music. Just kind of breaking down, any roles or responsibilities, and everyone just getting together and having a laugh. We did a network in Faji to celebrate Black History Month, and Diwali as well, which we celebrated kind of just towards the end of last year. All of these sessions have been a gateway to understanding important culture and moments in our colleagues' lives that maybe we wouldn't have necessarily otherwise experienced. And it takes away the pressure as well, that they can go into one of our kind of big rooms here. We've got conversation cards set up with important kind of pieces of information of just maybe that you wouldn't know. We've got music, and it's a relaxed setting, and as I said, there's always food, so that's great. And we've been able to support small kind of catering businesses as well, which is really important to us. We've had support and promotion from all of the networks, as Cheds has mentioned. We've got many networks here, and it really kind of kicks off that conversation of intersectionality as well, because we're not just one thing. None of us are, and we're complex beings, and being able to have the support and promotion from the other networks brings that together. As Cheds has mentioned, there's kind of been mentoring connections made, but ultimately it's about removing labels, stigma, and connecting on a human level, to create and maintain a true culture of inclusivity and belonging here at Sky. And that's what we like to do. We set the tone when training groups come in to Sky, that the networks go in and we give a talk and make sure that from day one they know that everyone is welcome, everyone has a place, and we want to learn as well. So as my role as co-chair, it's been an absolute privilege, really fantastic for us to have been nominated, and yeah, I can't wait to hear about the rest of the nominees.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to Kelsey from Bank of Ireland. And Bank of Ireland is one of the finalists in this category. And I'll just read out what the judges had to say. The judges were very impressed with Bank of Ireland's zero tolerance of harassment and bullying. They particularly liked the new Embrace campaign, which helps the bank tackle subtle racism and discrimination faced by colleagues in customer-facing roles. The bank's newly launched campaign, the Just Ask Me campaign, also encourages colleagues to ask the pronunciation of someone else's name if unsure of how to say it. I'll pass it over to Kelsey. Can you tell us about Embrace and Just Ask Me?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for having me on. And welcome everyone to the call. So my name is Kelsey Davis. My pronouns are she, her, and I work in the Inclusion and Diversity team in Bank of Ireland. And of course, we're so grateful to be shortlisted for this category. It meant so much to us. I suppose I'll just start off by talking a little bit about our agenda within Bank of Ireland, and then I will touch on the Just Ask Me and Embrace campaign, if that's okay. So at Bank of Ireland, our aim is to foster an inclusive work environment that's welcoming to everyone. So we want to make sure that colleagues are enabled to reach their full potential. So that would be attracting colleagues, promoting and retaining diverse talent at all levels. So we just want to make sure that colleagues within the group feel secure, they feel like they have an opportunity to be themselves and they feel included. So that was really important for us. And within our I&D agenda, we have 7 I&D colleague networks. And one of our most prevalent ones would be our multicultural network, of course. So for us, as part of the network, we would be celebrating that everyone is completely different. Everyone has their own culture. Everyone has their own background. But of course, like at Bank of Ireland, our aim is to make sure that everyone feels supported and has everything that they do need to thrive. So as part of our I&D agenda and as part of the network, of course, so we have 2 elements, I suppose, that are really important for us. So one being to celebrate key events like Diwali, Ramadan. We recently just launched a colleague BOI Muslim group, which is amazing. So it's really about looking at the gaps for us in the bank and what we can do to support that, and of course build on and make sure that colleagues understand that it's really important that they feel included. And the second piece, I suppose, for us then would be our initiative. So the Just Ask Me and Embrace campaign was led mostly by our multicultural network, which is amazing. And there's 2 key campaigns for us which are really led by feedback. So I suppose from our I&D networks, it's really important for us that we have 2-way feedback. So for example, when we are rolling out an initiative, whether it's an idea from our I&D team, that we run it by our multicultural network to get colleague-led feedback themselves, whether it's going to support them or whether it's a colleague idea that's brought to us in the I&D team, and we look at how we can expand on that and build and grow. So the Just Ask Me campaign was one of the first big initiatives as part of the multicultural network. And essentially it started out with an idea from our colleagues that, say, for example, if colleagues joined a meeting, and it might be a meeting where you haven't necessarily met everyone, so you might be a little bit at the awkward stage where you're unsure how to pronounce someone's surname if you see them on the call. It's often found that if you're not sure how to pronounce someone's surname, you tend to just avoid it, so you don't have any awkwardness. You don't want to say anything wrong. So I suppose for us with the feedback, it was like, how can we address that and make people feel more comfortable and feel more included? So whether it's in person or whether it's virtual. And the Just Ask Me campaign essentially encourages colleagues to openly just ask, whether it's a team member, whether it's someone who you're passing the office, or whether it's someone that you see in emails, like just actively, openly asking them, sorry, do you mind, how do I pronounce your name? So that's the first piece. And I suppose the second piece then would be to add your phonetic pronunciation onto emails. So I know myself, with Bank of Ireland, there's over 10,000 colleagues, so you constantly get emails. But I suppose for me, seeing the phonetic in the email signature of how to pronounce someone's surname just makes such a difference. So I'm always conscious to do it myself, even with my own name. I know Kelsey is a bit of an unusual one. But I suppose for us, it's just really important that we share that everyone's name is the essence of their own individuality. We want to take a moment to make sure that we're pronouncing someone's name to show respect, and it genuinely just speaks volumes when we do ask the quick question. So as I said, it led from the small idea, and it's actually grown so much internally. So we created a video with Baz Ashmawi, who is all over our Bank of Ireland campaigns. You probably see him on some of our adverts on the television or in our branches. But we were like, what better face to have on the campaign rather than Baz? Everyone recognizes him. So we brought in Baz. We had some colleagues who volunteered from across the group, and a mixture of names. And essentially we wanted to be, I suppose, lighthearted, where it wasn't going to be completely serious, that, you know, we wanted people to feel comfortable and, you know, enjoy watching the clip. And the clip actually just shows colleagues trying to pronounce each other's names, from obviously they're from different cultures, and it's just so nice to see how like people are actively making the effort, and how asking the question can genuinely make such a long step towards inclusivity. So I suppose that was the first piece. We're definitely looking at going external. So far it's been so positive internally. Yeah, just can't wait to see how that goes. And then I suppose the second campaign that was really important for us was Embrace. So as I mentioned before, feedback is so important to us. So we have a lot of our customer facing colleagues. So whether it's colleagues who are in branches or whether it's colleagues in our contact centers over the phones. And we actually receive feedback from colleagues in contact centers who were receiving phone calls from customers that they were receiving essentially like racist or microaggressive comments towards them on a daily basis. And of course it's not something that we condone. So as soon as we heard that, we just wanted to make sure that colleagues, regardless of what area you're working in, or whether you're on the phones, whether you're in the back office, that behavior just is not condoned. So we worked with the colleagues in the everyday banking team, and we created a scripture. So essentially it supports them in scenarios where they might receive the microaggressions over the phone, and it just makes them feel more confident in those situations. So essentially it's a script of what they can say, for example, in those situations where they're not unsure. They literally are able to follow the scripture from start to finish. It says that at Bank of Ireland we don't condone that behaviour, and they have the support fully of team management and senior leaders. So that was really, really important to us as well. And I suppose just seeing how it started from feedback from colleagues to it growing, where it's not just for our frontline colleagues, it's for any colleagues. Yeah, so it's definitely grown, and we're so proud of both campaigns. There's definitely more campaigns to come. I feel like it's always so busy within our multicultural network. But yeah, just so grateful to be able to talk today and share our story with everyone on the call.
Thanks, Kelsey. That's a great high to end on. I'm going to hand back to Toyin quickly to move us along. Sorry, push for time. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Kelsey. And so we'll move on to our third finalist, which is Carolyn Global Solutions, who are unable to join us today. However, I would like to acknowledge their work by reading out the judges' comments. Carolyn described themselves as one of the most diverse tech companies in Ireland. Their targeted recruitment policies are aimed at attracting candidates from underrepresented groups, with a particular focus on new Irish and female associates at all levels of the organization. The judges were impressed that this effort has resulted in a diverse team comprising over 300 employees from 35 different countries. And so I'll move us along to the next finalists.
I'll jump in here if you don't mind, Toyin.
Yeah.
It looks like Gas Networks were due to join us. Kira, is that right that they haven't joined us today? They haven't joined the call?
Yes, Andrew, sorry, they've been unable to join us.
Okay, that's fine. So I'll just quickly share what the judges' comments were about their particular their nomination that got them shortlisted along with everybody else, because it's important to kind of recognize their work. So, okay, so the judges enjoyed the details of their holiday swap policy, which is a simple idea that came through the cultural and ethnicity employee resource group, and it's had a great big impact. To give background, Gas Networks Ireland provides 2.5 additional company holidays a year at Christmas and Good Friday. The Cultural and Ethnicity ERG suggested that some colleagues might prefer to use these days for holidays of their cultural significance. A policy was drafted, which was unanimously approved and was launched in 2024. So that sounds like a great initiative there. I'm going to hand back to Toyin, and she's going to pick up with DPD Ireland. Back to you, Toyin.
Thank you, Andrew. So penultimate finalist and award and awarded highly commended is DPD Ireland. And with us today are Mary and Amy. The judges congratulated them for their commitment to finding flexible employment solutions for employees new to Ireland, and also for setting up a framework whereby people could report any discriminatory behavior, thus reinforcing zero tolerance of racism. Mary, over to you. Can you tell us more about this framework for reporting racism, and also about how you are finding flexible employment locations for employees whose accommodation can be changed at short notice?
Yeah, hi, I'm delighted to be here this morning. My name is Mary Gaffey. I'm the head of people and talent at DPD Ireland, and I'm joined here with my colleague Amy Shine, and Amy works alongside me in the people team. DPD Ireland, we've been in operation in Ireland since 1986, and we're the #1 parcel delivery company. Our central sortation hub is based in Athlone, and we have 35 strategically placed depots around Ireland. At DPD, we celebrate diversity, and with over 40 nationalities represented within our workforce, respect is one of our core values, reinforced by our Dignity at Work policy. Our employee engagement app platform, Out of the Box, provides a dedicated channel for reporting unacceptable behaviour, including discrimination of any kind. We offer comprehensive support through designated Dignity at Work support advisors, information on internal and external resources, which includes our employee assistance programme. We have an ethics officer in place who is part of the people team and oversees compliance. We've regular whistleblowing campaigns, training and education on policies and procedures, making sure all teams are up to date. We have a zero tolerance approach to discrimination of any kind. We also have a confidential whistleblowing hotline through Safe Call. At the end of March, we'll be training all of our teams on our new human rights policy, which includes topics such as respect for migrant workers, fight against harassment, sexism or any kind of violence, promotion diversity, equity, inclusion, fight discrimination and equal opportunities. So that's just some of the work that we're doing and we have done around making sure that we have a very respectful environment here in DPD. With regard to supporting employees who've been moved from Athlone maybe to another accommodation centre. So most of our employees would work here in our head office in Athlone. We have probably around 550 employees at the moment, with 50% of those working in our central sortation hub in the evening. We actively partner with local accommodation centres because we want to offer meaningful employment opportunities to individuals new to Ireland. We prioritise their employee well-being by offering flexible rostering, accommodating transportation limitations through carpooling arrangements. We recognise the importance of effective communication, and we provide English language classes to employees for whom English is a second language, all which fosters a sense of belonging within DPD and the wider community. We acknowledge the challenges faced by employees who've been relocated to new accommodation centres at short notice. And we've seen an increase in that really over the last 12 months, where we would have employees who would be based in accommodation centres at Athlone, but at very short notice will be told that they're going to other parts of the country. And as you can imagine, this caused a lot of disruption to that particular individual, especially after them being able to secure employment in Athlone and enjoying working with the team in Athlone as well. Luckily, we have 35 depots around Ireland, and we work closely with the network members. So those depots are all, it's like a franchise model, but we work very closely with the network member for each of those depots. And they actually facilitate seamless transition by integrating these employees in teams across our network. So we're able to move employees from the Athlone hub into one of the smaller depots around Ireland. And this just for those particular people, ensuring that they have continued employment and a sense of stability. And that's really the story in a nutshell from DPD Ireland.
Thank you very much, Mary, and thank you very much, Mary, for sharing all of that. And so I'll move us to our last finalist today, is Grant Thornton, represented today by Shri and Tom. Congratulations. So I'll read out what the judges had to say. Grant Thornton was congratulated for seamlessly combining cultural celebration with meaningful systematic change to create a truly inclusive workplace. At a deeper level, you have demonstrated unwavering commitment to equity and inclusion through innovative programs like Inclusive Recruitment Toolkit and Unconscious Bias Training. Your focus on career progression, transparency, focus on ethnicity pay equity research, and mandatory ED&I performance goals reflect a clear strategy for embedding inclusion at every level of their organization. So to Shri and Tom, what does winning this award mean to you? And what are the next steps for Grant Thornton in this area?
Thank you so much, Toyin. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sri Lakshmi Kunath. You can call me Shri. I'm a manager here at Grant Thornton and the co-lead for Ethnicity and Culture, ERG. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Irish Centre for Diversity for having us here today, for Medtronic for sponsoring the award, and for Catherine for being our lovely interpreter for the day. To self-describe, I'm an Indian woman. My pronouns are she, her. I have black hair and black glasses on, and I'm wearing a maroon top. And I'm in the meeting room here with my colleague Tom, who I will hand you over to.
Thanks, Shri. Hi, everyone. Yeah, so my name is Thomas Pettit, but you can all call me Tom. I'm also a manager in Grant Thornton's advisory department. I've been co-lead of the Ethnicity and Culture pillar for about 3.5 years now. To self-describe, I'm a white, Irish, gay, cisgendered man. I've short brown hair, brown beard, and blue eyes. Today I'm wearing a blue shirt and also spectacles. And just to go off what Shri is saying, thank you very much, everyone, for having us here today.
So we'll start off by giving you a bit of background. So Grant Thornton Ireland has over 2,500 employees across 9 offices in Republic of Ireland, Belfast, Isle of Man, Gibraltar, and Bermuda. We have a huge emphasis on advancing ED&I both within the professional services network as well as in the broader community. Through our ED&I goals, we aim to create an environment with a culture of caring and inclusivity for all of our colleagues.
Yeah, and we aim to do this through an integrated approach to ED&I. So social sustainability, embedding it within our internal workplace culture and external social impact, and also as a core pillar of our central business strategy. So through our initiatives, bespoke trainings, inclusive talent acquisition, our partnerships, and all of the educational, integrational, and celebration activities rolled out and delivered by our Embrace ED&I employee resource groups, we continued as professional services leaders throughout 2024.
So now our Embrace consists of 5 pillars. There's ability, family, gender equality, LGBTQIA+, and of course the one we both co-lead, ethnicity and culture. So how it works is we've got over 200 dedicated ambassadors firm-wide. Now these include our ERG employees, our senior leaders, as well as our Embrace allies. So this is to just give a picture of how our firm and our ERG is structured. And now we'll go on to talk about a few of our initiatives.
Yeah, so I suppose trying to answer your question just about what winning the award means to us, I can start and then I'll hand over to Cherie. I suppose winning the award is truly incredible and something we're all very proud of in Grant Thornton. Like us all, we don't do it for the recognition, the awards or the praise. We do it because we're genuinely passionate about ED&I. And to win is validation, same as being nominated, and we're very grateful for both in this case. So again, thank you very much. I suppose on a more personal level, one of the main reasons, this award means so much and why I got involved in the firm's Ethnicity and Culture Employee Resource Group was around kind of my own personal relationship with my Irish culture. So Irish music, folklore and dance is something near and dear to my heart. Outside of work, I'm an Irish dance teacher. And back in March 2023, I had a really cool opportunity during Seachtain na Gaeilge, which is Irish Week, which is happening now until March 17th. I was able to bring my Irish dancers up from County Westmeath up to the Big Smoke, and they were able to perform and teach our colleagues Irish dancing in our office. So it was a really special moment to see so many people of different ethnic and cultural backgrounds immerse themselves in Irish culture. And that's what we're all about. I mean, integration of different ethnicities and culture is top priority of our ERG. And like a lot of the initiatives we run, and I'll speak to one in particular, which is Culture Week. So in Grant Thornton, we've over 70 different nationalities across our regional offices. It was recognized that while we're a very multicultural firm, we have to work hard in making sure that we're intercultural as well. And this is something we learned through our work with Mamobo Ogoru, who Shri will speak to later. But Culture Week originally started off as Culture Night, but due to demand, it expanded, which is great. So we generally align the date and time around to the nationwide Culture Night, which is generally every September. So this initiative that we run, it really does rely on colleagues' input and collaboration. We kind of say, bring your own culture to work, whether that be through your cultural dress. Admittedly, I've dressed as a farmer for the last couple of years, which I need to change up a little bit. And bring in baked goods. We've cultural games, and then we would generally do a group activity, like a Ceilidh was the first year. South American dance class was the second year, and last year we had a choir session with Sing Ireland. So, getting to see our colleagues integrate with each other and celebrate their cultures is a big driver for what we do in the Ethnicity and Culture ERG. And again, I suppose to win is absolutely incredible, and we are so grateful. It's a recognition of the work that we've done, but also the work that we have yet to do. Sure.
Thank you, Tom. We absolutely enjoyed the lovely performance by Tom's team and the not so lovely performance by us. But all of the sort of the events and everything else aside, another element that is very close to us is to hire the right people. Our talent acquisition works with an inclusive recruitment toolkit, which includes our ED&I policy. Our Ethnicity and Culture ERG has worked with the talent acquisition team to publish Grant Thornton's International Hire Guide, which is sort of like a support document, support material for all of our new hires coming from different backgrounds and nationalities. Now, they might be unfamiliar with the Irish culture and professional and corporate expectations in Ireland. So I've been personally speaking at these induction events for about 3 years now. And it's just to provide them with the assistance and support of somebody who would have gone through the same experience themselves. And it's simple things, when to expect your Irish residence permit to arrive, where to get a leap card from, where to top up your leap card. And it's basically to have somebody talk to them when they're just entering the company, to tell them that, it's okay, there is a person for you to ask all the silly questions to. And we've had great feedback for these sessions over the year as well. And when you have a firm with so many nationalities, like Tom mentioned, it's important to address the topic of unconscious bias. While we want everybody to be comfortable in their role, we also want to be very clear that there is no tolerance for any sort of bias. Certain questions, certain comments, it might come from a place of ignorance or from a place of it being normalized in their own culture, but we make sure that these are identified and worked on. We've developed an unconscious bias training, which is mandatory for all new hires. And I think it's these things which kind of incorporate, while we do the fun side of things, we also work at an internal strategy level to make sure that there are policies in place to make everybody comfortable, and to make sure that no behavior make sure that no unacceptable behavior is continued in the firm.
And then I suppose, trying to go to your question then about what is next for us in Grant Thornton here. I mean, looking forward into 2025, we're looking to replicate a lot of what we've done in 2024. And I suppose one that I'd like to call out is our Garda Safety Talks. So our Racial Equality Action Plan is continuously evolving, and we need to create a psychologically safe space for our colleagues from different backgrounds, just to feel physically and mentally safe, not only in the office, but whether it be traveling to and from, living in the city, whatever the case may be. So our local ED&I community members of An Garda Síochána have rolled out inclusive safety talks across our offices to help facilitate and support our colleagues who may have experienced racial inequality in the local communities. So it's definitely something that we're looking to do this year, especially with everything that's going on in the world at the moment. I suppose something new, we talk about something old, something new, would be our ethnicity pay gap report. So unlike the gender pay gap report, this is not legislative. I struggle with that word so many times, and I've tried it 500 times. Yeah, it's not at the moment, but in Grant Thornton, as we called out, we have over 70 different nationalities in the firm, and we do have a duty to be open, honest, and transparent with our employees. So our Chief People Officer, Dr. Sinead Brennan, and our People and Culture team are leading the way with this report. And once done, we'll publish the findings and then implement any key and any necessary actions then out of this.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that I would like to point out is the reason why we think our setup works is because we keep people at the center of it. We continue with the initiatives that have gotten a positive response while being completely open to doing new events as well. We had our first Philippines National Day celebration, and this year we'll be doing Diwali celebrations for the first time. And I think it's just to sort of ask the people what they want, ask our colleagues what is it that they think would add benefit, and then focus on that. And while we do a lot of work to support our colleagues internally, we also focus on supporting our external partners, whether it is attending a career fair like we do with APNI, or having external speakers over, like Tom briefly mentioned. We have had Momomo Ogoro for a session on intercultural competence. And it was a very interesting one, just to sort of, even hear about the difference on what is intercultural and what is multicultural, things that sort of get you thinking, and it gets the group thinking. So we do a lot of support on our external networks as well. And these are, again, some things that's renewed yearly, just to check, is this still going to be of value? Is this still relevant? And most of them tend to be, so we retain most of our relationships as well. But yeah, that's another point that I wanted to point out as well. It's important to listen, and it's important to hear the feedback and the constructive feedback, or any sort of criticism that might come as well, and to work on it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I suppose just before we finish then, just on behalf of myself and Shri and all of us at Grant Thornton, we do want to say a big thank you again for having us here today, and a huge congratulations to all of the nominees. I mean, the work that we're doing and the work that you all are doing, we're truly inspired by. I've taken some notes here just on some of the initiatives that you all have been talking about. And myself and Shri will drop our LinkedIn profiles in the chat, and it would be great to connect with you all and maybe do some brainstorming sessions and info swapping like today. So thank you once again.
Thank you very much, Shri and Tom, and everyone today. I'm now handing over to Andrew.
Sure. We have a few moments left on the session. So I know that I said that we wouldn't have Q&As, but I I'm selfishly going to have a couple of my own. So hopefully not putting anyone on the spot. But that said, I'm going to come straight to, I do have one for Sky and I have one for DPD. So to Mary and Amy, I just wanted to, you're doing amazing work with the accommodation center people. And I wanted to find out, how do you have any language barriers that you need to overcome, and how do you do that? If you do, maybe Amy or Mary can just explain that.
Yeah, so I suppose just to English is necessary to work in DPD because it is the spoken language. And we do have some employees that maybe English is not their first language. But they have to have a basic level of English to come into DPD. But once we have them on board it, then what we do arrange for them is we do arrange, English speaking classes. But to start out with, they do have to have, a basic conversational level of English with us.
Right, that's wonderful. It's great to hear that those supports are in place as well. So thank you. Great to hear. Okay, then now to Fee and Chedu at Sky. My question was, listening to your nomination and listening to the work that you do, it was very clear that data plays a huge part in directing your decisions and your initiatives. And I wondered, how did you create the culture that enabled that data to be captured, or your team members to volunteer that information about their ethnicity? Because that can be, for some people, sensitive information that they're wanting to hold on to. So I'm sure that a great amount of work was done in creating the culture where that could freely be given. Could you share any nuggets from that?
Yeah, we'd be happy to. I suppose we've got an always on Count Me In campaign, right? And to give context, what that does is it's twofold. In terms of the diversity data that we collect, we kind of match it up to what's actually in the center of statistics so that it's relatable to people. So we use similar questioning around whatever data it is, whether it's around race, nationality, legal gender. So it's familiar with people. And then I suppose the other side is that we put a lot of work, I suppose back in 2020 when we started the Count Me In campaign, in, I suppose, bringing on board our exec sponsors, so senior members of staff, to educate them around the need for the data, what we were going to use it for. And then the second part was just putting together, I suppose, a working group. You'll find at Sky that what we always do is, to go back to Shri and Tom's point around putting people at the center of actions, is we would go out to our people and form people as working groups with people that are passionate and have an interest, and understand what the data is, what data is being captured first of all, and then what it's being used for. So that's the people element. And then there's the story part. So what was really important is to actually give people evidence of how we have used this anonymous data to make structural change within the organization. And I suppose to tailor at the end is what benefit that has been to the employees. So it's a combination of those pieces that have actually helped us get data. And we are quite strong across the data collection that we have. I think if we look at, I suppose, the 9 protected grounds, we collect data on all of those, and those are high up in the 80s plus. In our organization in Ireland, that's about 1,000 employees that you're talking about. We've just introduced social mobility, which is looking at, I suppose, that socioeconomic status piece. And again, we're starting off, I think at the moment we're at about 5% declaration. So we will be leaning on our Count Me In campaign, the same module and the same working of it, to try and drive that number up. And I suppose to kind of bring in the networks, our employee networks, where they've been really great, is that we go to our networks, we tell them why we need to collect the data. And quite often it's for us to create action of change, we need to understand people's experience. And we're going to use this data to, for example, cross it with our people survey, where our people give us feedback on their experience so that we can actually tell what different groups are experiencing. So we bring them along the journey of why we're collecting the data, how we're going to use it, and I suppose what the benefit to the employee is going to be as well. Fee, did you want to add anything?
No, I mean, I think the biggest thing, and what we try and do with the network is connect with people on a personal level, and get them to understand the why. Like, we all have a why of why we do this work on top of our day jobs, some of us, and why it's so important to us. So I think once you get that why out, as Cheds is saying, then you start connecting with people, and then they start being able to feedback with that. So yeah, that's the biggest thing that I could say is just connect with people, and they'll start understanding the why, your why, their why, and everyone else's, and we'll all become a bit more connected by doing that.
Thank you. That's a very powerful message, and I love the way it links back in with the work that Shri and Tom are doing at Grant Thornton. Just their message of listen to your people and explain to them, close the loop, explain to them why you're asking this information, and how their input is directing initiatives is so important. And I'm sure that everyone watching the call today can take a big lesson from that if they're not already implementing those initiatives. So I can see that we're about 3 minutes out, so I don't have any more questions, but I will wrap up just by saying a huge thank you to everybody on the call today. Thank you to Mary and Amy. Thank you to Chedu. Thank you to Fee, Shri, and Tom. And of course, thank you to Toyin at Medtronic. Thank you for sponsoring this category. Thank you to Catherine for your masterful ISL interpretation. Hopefully, we haven't caused your hands to go too fast. Thank you to Kira for keeping everything going on in the background. And thank you to you for joining us and clicking on the webinar today. Hope you've learned a huge amount, and hope you've learned as much as I have. I don't have any wrap up as such, but I'm sure everything you've learned today, you can apply nuggets of it to your own initiatives. So thanks very much. Thanks, everyone.